Now to the next Power Pack panel, a panel discussion where the topic is impact and importance of live audio chat rooms in digital entertainment, in conversation with Manish Batavia, anchor, joined by Shashank Shekhar, Senior Director of Content Strategy and Operations for Moj and Sharechat, Subha Sreenivasan Iyer, Vice President Head Media Services, Godrej Consumer Products, Shrenik Gandhi, Co-founder and CEO, White Rivers Media, Ssumier Pasrichaa, Indian actor, singer, and businessman. Over to you, Manish.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Manish Batavia, and today on day one of season 3 of the India Web Fest, let's dive deep into the world of the business of live audio chat rooms in digital entertainment. Now, in an era of a million distractions where more and more content platforms are vying for the consumer's attention and bandwidth, one can safely say that there are really more hours in a day available to the ears than the eye. There's clearly a rise in screen fatigue. And so is a live audio chat room the perfect form of escape? With or without empirical evidence, the general belief is that it is most certainly an escape for the consumer. And so to understand the rising phenomena of live audio chat rooms from 4 different perspectives, we're joined by 4 domain experts who are very well placed to look at this subject from 4 very varied perspectives. Shashank Shekhar, Senior Director of Content Strategy and Operations for Moj and Sharechat, joins us to give us a content and a business perspective on it. Subha Sreenivasan Iyer, who is Vice President and Head Media Services, Godrej Consumer Products, has spent years working with and engaging with brands, whether it's above the line or below the line. She has a substantial understanding of the OTT space as well, and she'll tell us how brands look at this live audio chat phenomenon. Also joining us is Shrenik Gandhi, co-founder and CEO, White Rivers Media, who will tap into his vast reservoir of experience and insight and his innate understanding of the psyche of brands to give us an agency perspective on it. And our 4th panelist is possibly the most performing arts inclined person in this conversation, Ssumier Pasrichaa, an Indian actor, singer, and a businessman who also often masquerades as the irrepressible Pammi auntie in the digital orbit. Ssumier brings in a unique creative and content perspective for us today. I'll start with Shashank, who is really at the heart of this live audio chat revolution at Sharechat. Shashank, Sharechat is clearly championing the cause of live audio content for a vast audience, especially in the tier 2 markets. Would it be safe to say that live audio chat rooms are the 3 big buzzwords for brands, content creators, agencies, and social media platforms these days in the digital world, that is? Now, give us an overview on the subject from a Sharechat perspective.
Absolutely right. So I think live audio chat rooms is a very interesting content format, right? Which was kind of possible earlier on the radio, but with the kind of experience an internet platform or the mobile platform can provide, right? It is becoming more and more immersive, right? So it's kind of a very unique content format, as we kind of typically say in the content and product sense, right? And it has been a kind of pretty amazing journey for us, right? So we started this as an experiment that during the first lockdown in April 2020, that hey, let's give something to the user community to engage with each other, right? And that's how it was born, right? A very simple tool for people to come together and just talk. And from there, like we have seen continuous innovation from the user communities, from the creators on this, right? And that has been kind of improving day on day, right? So starting from casual conversations, right? So now we're witnessing a plethora of activities, so much diversity of the use cases and content which is coming on, right? So moving on from the user community, professional creators kind of taking it up, right? Now we see social gaming, we see astrology, devotion, then celebrities and influencers coming in up, right? So we have seen cricketers, entertainment celebrities, people coming for movie promotion. So within a short span of time, I think the use cases have increased exponentially, and all the credit goes to, I think, our creative people, the creator community particularly. So from a platform standpoint, I think this is a very interesting format for consumers to connect with each other, right? It's a very interesting format to spend time, right? To kind of pass your time or to learn something new or kind of engage in any meaningful discussion or conversation. From a creator point of view, I think there had been, a bunch of creators who were just missing out from the digital action, right? Who were who are, let's say, camera shy, or who are not like really comfortable with the video format, right? And there has, there is a great deal of talent available, right? So that's, I think, number one, it becomes a huge opportunity for all such creators. Apart from that, for creators who are, let's say, creating other types of content as well, right? It becomes a very interesting format for them to connect with their fans and audiences. And this is not just for creators; it goes up to influencers and the topmost celebrities of India, like Akshay Kumar of the world, right? So I think as a platform, both from the creators' point of view and from the consumers' point of view, it's a great format, and it has been doing phenomenal currently. Starting from zero, almost 18 20 months back. Currently, in this year we have witnessed almost 21 million chat rooms being hosted, right? More than 2 billion minutes streamed, in a month, right? Average user is spending more than 30 minutes just on the chat room. So it's kind of becoming huge, and I think we're still in the early stages of that option, and this is going to go beyond any imagination going forward.
Right. My next question is for both Subha and Shrenik. In above the line advertising, or mainline advertising as they call it, there is this pressure of telling a story succinctly and effectively in 30 seconds. Now, if brands and agencies were to look at live audio chat rooms as a vehicle or a mode of talking to their end consumer, how different are the dynamics going to be? How do you see brands and advertisers or agencies responding to the immense potential of live audio chat rooms? Subha?
So great question, Manish. And first of all, I want to just thank all you guys that it's a great opportunity to connect and meet with all of you. And thank you, IWMBuzz, for inviting me here. Very glad to be here. To answer your question, Manish, yes, you rightly said that we've always been under pressure, In fact, we don't have even 30 seconds. Now we are under pressure to communicate stories in 20 seconds, or in fact, the average commercial duration has been successively going down at a rate in the last 20 years that I've seen. It's come down to effectively something like 18, 19 seconds. Okay, so yes, it's a tough one for us to tell a story. But having said that, our job is to basically target and connect with our audiences, right, as a brand and business. And for that, it's not only the TVC. Of course, TVCs are most popular because they are very powerful ways of, narrating a story. But our audiences are also all ears, literally, right? So we've had radio forever in this country and in this world, and we've had great successes in terms of radio programming, and radios created a lot of stars. That's audio as a medium. And the way I would see it is, it's a great potential for two reasons. In the current context, people, especially when they are getting so fatigued in terms of seeing something and getting so sort of distressingly engaged across multi-sensory kind of impact, to me, audio is a great relief, because I love audio. Okay, and who of us does not love music? We all do. And music transcends everything, right? So that's where audio falls. It's beautiful as a medium. I love it. And what I see as a huge potential is that the beauty with which, you connect in a country like ours, which is so diverse, with so many segments, so many age groups, so many languages, it's a win-win for both creators and audiences. And if wherever that happens, I think it's great for an advertiser in a business like ours. Today you ask me to speak Devanagari or speak Urdu, you can beautifully narrate a story in those respective languages. And I think that's the brilliance. So honestly, I see only potential, and I see only fabulous growth coming up our way. So
Shrenik, the same question to you as well. How different is the dynamic as compared to a 10, 20, 30-second TVC? Here it's very different. That plus our brands, your clients, you work with a lot of young brands who have a lot of money, massive marketing budgets. Yeah. Are they opening up? Are they warming up to the idea of brand and content integrations on live audio chat rooms?
Yeah. So firstly, again, thank you very much for having me around. And I'm also glad to be a co-panelist. With all of you have been, of course, Sharechat has been one of my top, opened apps on my phone. So I'm glad to be, sitting right next. Of course, Godrej as a brand is one of the most evolved brand in terms of ATL and now with digital as well. So fabulous work done there, Subha. And of course, Pammi Auntie. I don't know any person in my office who's not seen Pammi Auntie. So, I'm glad to be around. Thank you, India Web Fest. Now, specifically talking about your answer, I think a couple of points. Indians, are storytellers and so story listeners, right? Think of the mythological stories, the entire mythological narratives which all of us are born and brought up. We've always lived up with the stories, and we've grown up listening to the stories. So inherently, we love to listen to stories, right? My next part of the answer would be, I'll be stealing two words which Ms. Subha spoke. One is fatigued. Second is distressingly engaged. Very interesting words. Right? I think that's the core problem with the entire digital narrative, wherein there is so much fatigue. Right? I was reading the statistic which said that an Indian and a normal audience watches more than 2,000 video ads or video content pieces subconsciously and consciously. In 2000, how it's going to be a very difficult sell for a brand to kind of break clutter. Of course, some brands doing fabulously well, but it's an uphill task. Shubha also spoke about the fact that average commercial time has become about 18 seconds. The average attention span has become, sub 8 seconds, right? So lesser than a goldfish, right? It's 6 seconds, right? In fact, Facebook came up with this brilliant initiative called as Facebook Thumb Stoppers, right? Wherein they came up with a lot of 6-seconder content. And some fantastic advertisements, were produced in that particular set of content. In that particular IP. How audio is different is because in the entire world of fatigue, in the entire world of people being distressingly engaged, and in that world where people are chasing 6 seconders, 8 seconders, 20 seconders, if Sharechat is saying our average audience base 30 minute app pe rehta hai aur 30 minute audience sunta hai, I think it's music to my ears, quite literally. Wow. Yeah, so that's why it's different. Brands, I think a lot of brands have started showing interest. One of the biggest problem, and honestly, of course, I'm sure others on panel can also help correct me if I'm wrong. But one of the biggest problem is the numbers aren't as big as digital numbers are. But we are fast approaching that. So right now, one of the biggest task which we have for most of our brands is to explore audio as a medium. Right? It's a very honeymoonish kind of a zone where people are exploring ki kya kar sakte, right? So it's a very interesting time, and there's a lot of freedom to fail. I don't have so much freedom to fail in digital. So that's the best part right now as an agency, where I'm happy to experiment multiple formats, multiple IPs, multiple talk shows for a lot of our brands. So that's the space we are in right now, wherein we are exploring and experimenting the audio space. And right now, not many brands are looking at it from a ROI narrative. They are rather looking at it from a return on time narrative, whether in future it is going to be worth it. So right, that's my take.
I'm now going to go across to a young, talented man who is basking in the glory of his recently released film, Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui. Ssumier, congratulations on the film, firstly. I've been on a few fascinating live audio chat rooms where I hosted a fantastic property called Quick Chat on Sharechat very recently, where we had these no-holds-barred, really candid, open, honest conversations with some of the biggest names in Indian cricket. We had Virendra Sehwag, we had Gautam Gambhir and Shekhar and Akash Chopra, who's a massive social media star in his own right. And I got the feeling that celebrities share their thoughts a lot better in a low-pressure, spontaneous format. Somehow it just feels more real, not dressed up or packaged. Would you agree that this element of being real and candid is what makes this medium so good? Is that where creators can really fly and paint pictures with words and be more candid and more real and more relatable?
Thank you so much, Manish, and thank you, India, IWM, for having me here, man, with such a brilliant panel. Thanks for appreciating Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui. And coming back to your question, it's always good to be as candid, as real as you can be. And if you see in past couple of years, most of the things which have gone viral is because they were unfiltered. people could relate to it. Jitna realistic rahega, people will connect. I think so now audience is evolving. They really don't want to live in that fantasy and showbiz. They want to see you as unfiltered as you. That's why whether you see any of the series which are more realistic, people could connect to. Why people could connect to Pammi Aunty? Because it was unfiltered and that was the reality. So that's the way it should be when you are creating a content, because until unless audience is not engaging with the kind of content you are creating, they will keep on. They have option of changing a channel within 1 second, within 3 seconds, 4 seconds. They're like, yeah, chodo yaar, ye nahi. Next, next. This is good. This is interesting. Or probably this is my language and it is very late. So it is very important for any content creator to be as realistic as possible. And same goes to the celebrities when they come for these chat shows, because that's the time they talk their heart out. Kind of the time, most of the celebrities are so frustrated by the brands with the kind of so-called image which they want to create, and celebrities, unfortunately, sometimes do not relate to, but because there is money involved and there are a lot of things involved, and they say, okay, good money, let's do it. But ask most of the celebrities, they would love to be, they know the real pulse of the market and they would love to connect. That's what I would say.
Shashank, for me as an anchor and for your team, it was a bit of a revelation to see Cricket do so well. As a man who looks at things with a certain bird's eye view, did your understanding of the medium of Sharechat as an app evolve with the kind of success you saw with Cricket?
Absolutely. And to your point, I think just wanting to refer that you felt that it was pretty honest conversation, and me being a lifelong fan of Virender Sehwag, right? I think I've seen many interviews, right? And that conversation particularly was something that that was a pretty amazing fan experience for me as well. That these kind of conversations are coming up, right? So I think that the honesty and the ease of that conversation, which is building on these formats, it's amazing, right? And now purely from a platform and business point of view, I think that's a tremendous use case. And post that, apart from cricket category, like in Tamil and Kannada particularly, right? We like this. I think this quarter, in last 3 months, we have had more than 100 celebrities coming in and doing chat rooms, and we have just seen one single feedback that everyone just loves it, right? So I think the point you are trying to make, that it's pretty honest, it's a no barred conversation, right? I think everyone is just enjoying that, right? And that's for the celebrities, that's for the consumers as well, right? So this is a pretty big kind of revelation for us as a platform, right? And another thing is that this is happening at scale, right? So we are talking about 300,000 concurrent users, right? Which has never happened in live space, right? In the live video format, at least, right? So the kind of scale at which this phenomena is happening is amazing, right? And that's where you can kind of really connect the creator or the influencer to the fan, and brands also get a big field, right? Where they can kind of really work upon. We had this Kavi Sammelan from Dr. Kumar Vishwas, and he like literally his words was that this is the biggest munch I have been on, right? So it's not even practically possible to fill 100,000 people at one time in any physical real estate. But I think the technology, the format is like really expanding the stage, the munch, and I think that's a great opportunity for all the stakeholders in the ecosystem.
Subha, a few years ago, I once met an advertising person. I don't remember his name, but he said, all good content or all good advertising is one that tugs at the heart or at some emotion. Now, trust is a very key emotion. Now, my experience as an anchor tells me that on a live audio chat room, there is this trusted relationship between the host or the anchor and the listener. And so, Subha, how should brands look at leveraging this rare commodity of trust?
So very interesting, not interesting. Actually, it's a fact that you just said, that what tugs the heart and what actually makes it for a very intimate and personal kind of a conversation, right? I think as a brand and as business, most of us the biggest challenge that we face is exactly this, to build that very intimate connection where something resonates so much with the listener or the audience that they build that bond, which is a very long-term kind of a commitment with a brand, right? And that's so essential. Something that we did, Manish, around more than 15 years back, I remember we built an entire programming on All India Radio for our hair color. Okay. And I've seen, of course, that was the era of written postcards. Okay. I don't even know how many people know about postcards now. But there was a point in time, we started that show with a lot of conviction, because we really believed, I really believed that you could have that kind of a build through voice. Okay. You will not believe it, Manish. There was a point 6 months into the show, we had to literally say that now we are going to destroy because we got those sacks of postcards. And that for me, as a media planner and as somebody who's close to brands, it was a revelation for me and a big learning. And my, one message that, today I really want to take out is that unfortunately, a medium which happens to be my favorite is also so under leveraged, today. And I think the power lies in stories, because when you're listening to somebody's voice, think of it, a chat with a friend, you're listening to someone, and it's that you literally shift into a higher level of focus. It's also biological. Okay. It's also scientific. I'm sure the people behind the businesses, they know this better than what I know, because I am saying it more intuitively and as somebody from experience. But there is amazing potential to be tapped into. And I know for a fact we've actually worked on a couple of brands with Sharechat, and I'm sure Shashank knows about it. So I rest my case. For me, there is no doubt on that.
Shrenik, how can agencies like yourselves play the enabler on that front, where they need to capital? Sorry, go on. Go on, Subha. Go on.
So I think the fact is that, okay, to address specifically to your question, agencies and anybody who's working on this whole communication planning for a brand, you need to ensure that you're doing something which is going to be unique, which is going to be not the same message that you're going to tell on television, but here you can actually bring alive one aspect of a brand which clearly is going to be important for the brand, for the business, and for the consumer. Get into more explanatory kind of a mode and build a long-term, connection in terms of a longer content, in terms of repetitive. So build a programming which is going to be long-term. Tell a story, build a story, and keep them engaged and activate at regular intervals. Those are the 2-3 things that will always bring in good results. And that's something we've done effectively, and which is why I'm sharing this here.
Fascinating. Shrenik, how do you think agencies can play the enabler on that front, where they need to capitalize on that otherwise rare commodity of trust between the host and the listener, which is really an inherent element in a live audio chat room conversation?
Yeah. So I think one of the keywords which you used even in the earlier question was how can brands leverage? I think leveraging or exploiting may not be the right word at this juncture of audio. The right keyword, I believe, would be explore, because I think for the next at least 12 to 18 months, while Indians get more adapted to the entire audio ecosystem, exploratory phase is a phase where brands and agency need to be. As an agency, our job would be to make sure we guide the brands right, we educate them more than anything, wherein to explain them the narrative that this is, don't hunt for ROI, rather hunt for very relevant conversations. Conversations is something which is going to drive brand connect, brand affinity, and sustained conversations is something which is going to drive brand loyalty, right? So I think that is the kind of a role where we would love to play, where we will help enable the brands to try and have the right conversations out there, have the right conversations in a very sustained fashion, probably, repeat the entire postcard story which ma'am spoke about in the audio ecosystem. Right. Also, there is another very interesting use case which I believe brands should also look into audio, category in, is research. Since the audience are so involved with the brands, I think if the brand can pick up a loyal set of audience, say, and it need not be done at a mass scale. Even if you have a few hundred people, brands can genuinely get into a conversation with people, try and deep dive into their minds, right? And try and get insights which they could possibly never get for the brands via simple primary or secondary research, because over here genuine conversations happen, right? So I think these are some of the use cases, I believe.
Shashank, years ago I worked at Ogilvy, and I was told as a young kid that it's one agency where creative and servicing, or creative and strategy, there's this beautiful blend between the two. Now, you're a content person, and I'm sure you have conversations with a lot of brand people, brand managers. Imagine a scenario, a hypothetical scenario where a brand comes to you and says, here, we have X amount of money. We want to be on Sharechat, but we don't know what to do with it. What would you say to them?
I think so. That's a pretty interesting and exciting question, right? So there are broadly on Sharechat, there are multiple avenues where brands can integrate in a very authentic way with the consumers, right? And given that most of our consumers are coming from the Bharat region, right? And the platform also supports basically in the language of the people, right? And the culture of the people, right? So for brands to drive the message in the language of the people, right, it becomes essentially a great platform overall, right? And there are multiple avenues, right? And we are kind of really improving on that. First is that obviously the performance marketing, which we generally see that you're able to kind of reach out to your to the audience which is really interested in your brand, right? So we have great capabilities on that front. And that also kind of provides a straightforward ROI perspective to the brands, right? So a lot of brands prefer that. Along with that, we are kind of building immersive ways to integrate brand into the platform as well, right? So all that is happening. Then on the audio chat rooms as well, right? So we have seen some brand integrations, and I think the point what Shubha was trying to make, that you have to maybe you have to pick your stories which connect with the audience, right? I think so here what it can be that you have to pick a cause, right? Or you have to pick a sentiment, right? So we had an amazing brand collaboration with a series of chat rooms we had on remembering SP Balasubramanian, right? So and it was like really authentic. So the chat room is happening in Tamil language. There are really famous singers who are kind of paying a tribute to the legend, right? And there is your brand present who is trying to kind of convey the message that, hey, I belong to your community, right? I belong to your culture as well, right? So there are I think tremendous opportunities within Sharechat as a platform, and as we are kind of growing, right, we are building more and more interactive ways for brands to connect to the consumers.
Ssumier, from a creator's point of view, is it an advantage for a storyteller like yourselves to have unlimited time, or is it a far greater challenge to keep the audience engaged over a longer period of time?
See, it's a very two different questions, I will say. There are formats. If you are being part of it, it is the necessity of that format that you convey your message or you try to engage your audience in that particular time set. And there are formats where you have ample of time and thing. Yes, to create a format in a short format is the most tough thing. Just like ads, the ad has to go through three. I always ask my brands, like, what are the 3 key messages you want me to convey? And that has to be put in probably 1 minute or 3 minutes. Whereas I can go la, 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 and say the same thing in 5 minutes, 8 minutes, or 10 minutes. It's just like full feature film or a short film. Yeah. So it's depends how beautifully the message is conveyed to the audience, your audience. So that's how it is. And what was your second question? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's better from a creator's point of view? Shorter time or longer time? What's the challenge like?
I would say what hits the right nerve is the best possible thing. It need not be a 1 hour story. Like what Subhaji was saying, a radio or something, what she's talking about. Whenever I'm going to my work from my home, and that particular time I know on probably Radio City or something, there is this guy called Sarang or something. I'm forgetting. Beautiful story. I can't see him, but the way he narrates those stories really touches my heart. Every day, I make sure that I'm in my car to listen to that guy and his different stories, which are taken from real life stories of people on humanitarian grounds or a social message or something. I look forward to it. And if his show is just for 15 minutes, so that story can be told, but the way he conveys, so it is very important who is the narrator, how engaging his content is. That's an art of an author or the person who is saying. Sometimes writing doesn't matter. It's the person who is saying the story matters.
Yeah. Shashank, one of the reasons why live audio chat rooms on Sharechat are so phenomenally successful is that the technology allows a very seamless user experience. Can the Sharechat consumer or user expect more immersive listening experiences as technology evolves?
Yeah. So I think, from the core barrier or the most difficult problem in the audio streaming is solved, right? So I think it's now kind of it's moderately easy, I would say, to kind of do that, right? And to do that at scale, right? I think the next is that how immersive and how how can you drive more and more interactions into it, right? So there will be two frontiers, I think, on which we'll be working, and I think the rest of the world is also kind of working on, is that how can we create better tools for our creators, right? How can we help them create more engaging content in the live format, right? That's going to be super important. And the second is that for consumers, right, how can we kind of give more ways for them to like really interact with the creators or interact with the community which is present, right? So just an example that we have something called virtual gifts in our audio chat rooms, right? And that has also exploded, right? And we see hundreds of thousands of people gifting, virtual gifting, to the hosts who are speaking or the people who are performing on the stage, right? So this is just one innovation, and now within the domain of virtual gifts, right? You can do so many things, right? You can kind of keep working on that, right? Another interesting example, which is also happening right now, is social games, right? People coming together and playing games, right? So it can be Ludo, it can be anything, and having a very natural conversation, right? So as they're talking, they're also kind of playing something, right? So this is another example of immersive experience, right? For bigger stages, right, where a celebrity is coming, right? So a better way for Q&A, right? A better way to kind of give the opportunity to fans to kind of show their love to the celebrity, right? So all those experiences are kind of really possible, and I would say it's not much there's not much technological gap, or there is not much technical difficulty. It's more about having the creativity and that desire to keep experimenting and building these interactive experiences.
Right. My next question is to both Subhaji and Shrenik. Sharechat has 180 million monthly active users in India. We don't like the word million, so I'll say 18 crore log hai Sharechat par. How luring, and a lot of them are massively, the massive percentage of that one of 18 crores is very young people. How luring is that available captive TG for a brand? And do you see more consumers from other age groups and SECs joining the live audio bandwagon? And what kind of brands do you see wanting to come on board Sharechat with the kind of TG they have?
I think definitely all kinds of brands, Manish, to be very honest, because the kind of numbers that you're talking about is fairly large. So that actually offers opportunity for multiple type of audience segments that you could target. And also when you look at the kind of language options that are available, I guess it's only a matter of, multiple combinations, multiple content that we test and try and build. That's how I would sum it up.
Shrenik?
Yeah.
I was reading this article, by the CEO of Spotify, where he mentioned that live audio content is the next story, right? What stories did to social media that, I think the next big feature or the next big thing within the consumer ecosystem is live audio content, right? So the live audio content, of course, is, that here to stay. While of course the urban audience have started kind of jumping in the bandwagon. The next big, of course, again, not to sound cliche, but the next big set is Bharat. The larger adoption will come in from, a lot of smartphones who may not have the best of cameras, right? Right, your sub 5,000, sub 7,500 smartphones, say, sub $100 smartphones, whose cameras aren't the best, yet, there's this inherent desire for people to influence, right? In fact, another statistic for you, and again, I was pleasantly shocked to hear this number. Manish, do you have any idea how many people of influence / celebrities are there in India? Can you just give me a random number in India?
10 million? A million, sorry, a million, 10 lakhs, a million.
So 50 lakh plus people classify under, they are called power, people of influences / celebrities.
Wow.
Massive number, right? Now think of it. Any celebrity would like to be heard. Any celebrity would like to talk. I can see I'll
be like, half of them are self-acclaimed celebrities. Sorry.
So I'll send you this research. This is a brilliant research which was done. And now of course there are.
I believe because a country of 130 crores, I think it's acceptable. We have one everywhere.
And think tier 2, think tier 3. Right now in these geographies, right, where again, and go back to my insight of not having great smartphones, right? If you marry both of these, I think audio is the next best solution. So you would see a lot more audience coming from there.
Right. Shashank, these 18 crore monthly active users are clocking about 2 billion minutes. They're streaming for 2 billion minutes monthly. It's a staggering number. I'm sure it's very exciting for brands, for agencies, for media buyers as well. What's going to be the next peak for the platform and how the platform is used, especially the live audio chat room feature?
I think, we are still in the early adoption curve of the live audio, use case, right? And, what we are seeing is kind of tip of the iceberg. So I would say that just 1 to 2% of whatever is possible in future is currently happening, right? So, even on the platform of Sharechat, right, we have tremendous scope to grow. And beyond that, we all know that, another 300-400 million users are coming on the platform, right? So on the internet, sorry, right? So I think that the peak is going to be, I think, in higher crores only. I think whatever we are discussing right now about Sharechat as a total figure, I think that will be, an acceptable and kind of, normal number for audio features itself 4-5 years down the line.
Thank you everyone for that absolutely interactive panel discussion.